Thank you for coming to the roundtable to showcase UBC infrastructure and initiatives that can support and amplify environmental humanities research at UBC. I'm Mary Chapman, Academic Director of the Public Humanities Hub. I'm going to introduce our 5 roundtable participants, and they'll each speak for about 7 minutes to allow 20 minutes for discussion. This roundtable will be followed by a short break, and then beginning at 3:30 on the same Zoom link will be a series of lightning talks, a presentation about the new Environmental Humanities Research Network, and some breakout rooms. So our speakers today are Tara Ivanochko, Academic Director of the UBC Sustainability Initiative, David Tyndall, Chair of Arts, Minor in Environment and Society, Liska Richer, Manager of the SEEDS Sustainability Program, Anna Casas, co-author of the Zero Emission University Petition, and Megan Wise, Campus Climate Initiatives Lead for the Climate Hub. Please put your questions in the Q&A and chat, and we'll give the mic over to Tara now. Tara, you can share your screen, please.
Great, thank you very much for having me here. It's a wonderful opportunity to be able to talk about, there we go, the UBC Sustainability Initiative and how it is supporting research, education, and outreach on campus here at UBC. So just as an introduction, there's a variety of different, as you'll hear from people, there's a variety of different units and offices and other activities on campus that support sustainability in different ways. But the UBC Sustainability Initiative is particularly focused on student, faculty, and staff acting as sustainability agents of change in response to what we understand now is these urgent challenges. Challenges of climate change, challenges of biodiversity loss, and also challenges of equity and social justice around the world. So our office on the UBC campus offers tailored programming to faculty, students, undergraduate and graduate students that allows them to engage in particular different types of research and education opportunities. We also provide funding in particular to faculty engaging in curriculum renewal and graduate students engaging in applied research. We're also a hub of information, a source of what is going on campus for a variety of activities beyond the reach of the USI in itself. And through our programs, faculty, staff, and students on campus are supported in networking both inside and outside the university. The work that we're doing at the USI is supported and contributes to a variety of the strategic plans that have been developed on campus now since 2009, when the first sustainability academic strategy was developed. And most recently this year, the Climate Emergency Task Force report was passed by the Board of Governors, and the USI has a critical lead role to play in implementing the recommendations from that task force. So again, as a connector and curator, facilitator of sustainability programs, I'll focus here on 3 different types of activities that we are engaging in: teaching, learning, and student engagement, fostering knowledge, skills, and experience of students for them to act as agents of change and responsible global citizens. Our unit on urban innovation research supports interdisciplinary research, demonstrates potential solutions, and advances sustainable practices and policies alongside municipalities in our region. And then actually today I'll speak less to the regional and international engagement, though I wanted to include it here to allow you to understand that the USI is not only focused on UBC, but a broader community and engaged in leadership throughout the international community and universities with a variety of different kinds of connections through institutions like the Universities for Climate Change, UC3, in which Santa Ono, the university president, is the lead this year. So one of the unique opportunities that we focus on for graduate students is the opportunity for applied research through partnerships in a program we call Sustainability Scholars. So in this program, UBC graduate students are matched with partners on and off campus to work on applied research projects. Graduate students will apply directly to the USI for these internships, which are co-developed in relation with the partners that we work with both on and off campus. So this is a 250-hour position. The students are paid for this role, and we have two options right now, a summer cohort program and a fall cohort program. The fall cohort is particularly focused on climate-related projects right now, where the summer program is more broader sustainability-related applied research. An example of one of these projects right now that has finished up is the project entitled Centering Equity and Affordability and Climate Action Plans, Policies and Programs. Vincent Chiré was the author of this in partner with the city of Abbotsford. And this project looked at analytical and synthesizing energy poverty profiles based on the 2016 census data. This report showed significant numbers of seniors and lone parents in racialized households have experienced energy poverty. And the work that Vincent did is informing the Abbotsford City Plan, thinking about how they can complement both their intentions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions while also providing for vulnerable and marginalized groups in their region. This program is particularly of benefit to both groups. So students work in a professional applied experience and are able to focus the research they're doing on real world applications. They're contributing to sustainability across the region, and they're working with mentors, both within the USI and within the partners that they're working with. And obviously it's an opportunity to financially support their studies part-time. The partners also benefit from this program because UBC undertakes the administration of having an intern move into the company for a short period of time and vets the students as they're coming through, focused on bringing cutting edge skills, research, and knowledge into the workplace, and allows the organization itself to be free of those particular types of burdens, though the organization typically will pay for the student who is in that particular program. The students particularly note that this applied research allows them to see the local municipal relevance of the work that they're doing, seeing in fact that their research is being incorporated into the city plans or the partner organizations that they're working with. So this quote in particular demonstrates that benefit of seeing the work that you're doing be put into action right away. So we work with partners in this. As I've said, we have a few core partners. We're working with BC Hydro and the City of Vancouver, the Fraser Health Authority, Metro Vancouver, and TransLink, as well as more. And in a unique opportunity that we have of this last year, and hopefully we'll be able to continue for one more year, the USI is actually able to support and pay for the internships and therefore targeting NGOs to work with for the climate action partnerships. And in that particular case, we're able to work with NGOs that wouldn't otherwise be able to support, they don't have the capacity financially to support a student within their organization, and so we have been able to do that. Another way that we can support faculty on campus is through a larger campus as a living lab initiative. So these research opportunities or proposals that are funded are partnerships between the UBC researchers and UBC students on campus, and usually an industry or off-campus partner. There is now a process for vetting those applications coming in, and these larger projects can be supported up to $250,000 over a number of years. So this is really an opportunity to dig in and develop critical cutting edge sort of sandbox type projects that we're able to check and vet on a UBC property or in the region with the support through the USI. So in this case, this year, one of the Campus is a Living Lab projects that has been supported is entitled Reimagining Indigenous-Centered UBC Campus Recreation. The leads on this project here on campus are with Indigenous education and kinesiology. And this project is addressing sustainable development goals of good health and sustainable cities and communities, really looking to transform how we perceive and think about our recreation on campus to transition and think about decolonizing this space, supporting Indigenous self-determination. The final project or program that I'll discuss today is the interdisciplinary education grants that are available to UBC faculty who are looking to develop and partner with another group on campus or another faculty member on campus. And this interdisciplinary education grants require 2 faculty members to be participating in this. The grants here are up to $20,000 for 2 years, depending on the size of the project. Many of these will be developing a course or learning experiences that might bridge between 2 classes, but they can go up to curriculum for larger programs. And one of the examples we have going on right now, in fact, is a collaboration between arts and science developing a climate change certificate. So even to that level, we can support these types of projects. And the interdisciplinary nature means that there's, again, transformative learning opportunities going on for both the students and for the faculty engaged in these types of projects. The fellows that are participating, grant holders join the USI as sustainability fellows, and we meet regularly once a month to cross-pollinate between the projects, and the faculty engaged in this sort of essentially a community of practice associated with teaching and learning on campus and focused on these sustainability interdisciplinary projects. The faculty find them uniquely supportive and an opportunity to learn and build networks across the campus in a way that they've otherwise not been able to have access to. Faculty members are coming from all across campus, and this quote here from Tamar Milne in Sauder School of Business reflects that idea of the cross-pollination that happens between the faculty members who are participating in the program. So we're also going through a strategic planning process, and at the USI, this means an opportunity to rethink and to be more creative with different types of programming and really focused on new types of collaborations. We're in the region playing a role in opportunities and working with the City of Vancouver, but also more broadly with the University of Washington and the City of Seattle and farther down the Pacific Coast, thinking about how sustainability can focus on the urban environment. The Vienna House project that we have ongoing right now is representing path-breaking approach to addressing affordability in cities like Vancouver, while at the same time operating under this idea of sustainability, developing innovative and zero emissions buildings, but also thinking about supportive housing. And though we're not on campus right now, if we were on campus, you would see a blooming field in front of the Belkin Art Gallery. The Fireweed Fields art program installation on the Belkin Gallery is reflecting this relationship between arts and sustainability, thinking about this fireweed meadow as an opportunity to increase biodiversity, but also as a metaphor for the resurgence of life after a crisis. Thinking here of the climate crisis, but we're also, of course, these days developing ideas and needing to deal with more complex problems in the intersections of a variety of different crises that we're facing at the same time.
You have 1 more minute, Tara.
Great, I'm just at the end here. So I'd like to just bring your attention to a couple other opportunities that you might have. The Climate Teaching Connector is an opportunity for graduate students who have expertise in climate-related different disciplines to make themselves available to instructors on campus who would like to have a guest lecturer come in and talk about some feature of climate that is outside of the expertise of the instructor or complement the ideas that are happening in class. So you can sign up if you're interested to have one of these climate teaching connector people come into your classroom. We're also expanding our engagement through, we've this year had a climate justice series, and the climate justice series and climate related webinar series will be continuing again into the new year. And finally, COP26. So this is the Conference of the Parties, the UN negotiating table that's developing the international agreements on addressing climate change. COP26 this year is taking place in November, and we'll be coordinating the UBC presence in relation to COP26 through the USI as well. So all of those initiatives are available for you to learn more about on the USI website. So really, I'd just like to finish by saying that the USI here is to support faculty on campus, but we're also really interested in understanding what faculty need. So if there are ideas or activities or initiatives that you feel might support you in your bringing sustainability into your classroom, into your research, then please let us know. We'd be happy to hear about the types of things that you think that we could do for you. So I'll stop there. And thank you for the time to speak to you today.
Thank you. David Tyndall is next.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Tyndall. I'm the chair of the Environment and Society minor in the Faculty of Arts at UBC, and I'm also a faculty member in the Department of Sociology. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Environment and Society minor. So part of the idea of the Environment and Society minor is to tap into some of the expertise of folks who are doing environmental research and teaching especially in departments and disciplines that are not necessarily some of the core disciplines. So for instance, there's a variety of core disciplines and faculty on campus, like the Department of Geography, for example, where the core is really looking at environmental issues. But there's folks doing things in other sorts of places, such as political science and anthropology, and so on. And so part of the rationale for the Environment and Society minor is it allows undergraduate students to develop a minor, undertake a minor with an interdisciplinary focus to complement other things that they might be doing in the Faculty of Arts. So the structure of the minor is that there's 21 credits that are required. There's an A list and a B list. So the A list has 15 credits of courses that are social science and humanities, and there's also a B list with 6 credits of environmental science courses. So part of the idea of the minor is to ensure that folks have a mix of some science background and some social science and humanities background. The web page for the minor is listed here, the URL. So you can check out a few of the details there. The initial concentration for the minor was for the A stream, the non-science courses, was mostly from the social sciences, and in my role as chair, I've been trying to do a little bit of digging on the history of how the structure of the minor got set up, and this is it turns out is a little bit hazy, but it seems to be the case that the minor is heavier on social sciences than humanities, mostly as a function of what was available at the time that the minor was set up. But in the original list, there were some courses that might be considered part of the humanities, such as courses in philosophy and history, for example. You can check out the courses that are officially on the list on the website, but this is the list of the social science and humanities courses, and this is the list of courses that are categorized as being under environmental sciences. So students at UBC in the Faculty of Arts are required to declare their major or their minor prior to registering for courses in the third year of their BA program. So they have to make some sort of commitment prior to third year. However, if a student has declared their major by the beginning of the third year, it's possible to declare a minor at a later date. And in fact, as some folks will know, they don't necessarily have to declare a minor at all, but there's some flexibility as to when they might declare to do the environment and society minor or some other sort of minor. I've reviewed some of the stats for the minor, and at the moment it seems that that most of the students in the minor are social science majors, and so this is a quick frequency table showing the majors of the students who are registered in the environment and society minor. Although again, this is probably a function of the courses that are available and possibly of how undergraduate students find out about the environment and society minor. I want to say a few words about the adoption of new courses, because this might be of interest to some folks. And in fact, I have proposals for a few new courses that I'm going to add to the list from humanities departments. So we'll have some new humanities courses on the list pretty soon. But for most of the history of the minor, the courses for the A and the B list were submitted through the university curriculum process, and approved courses were eventually listed in the university calendar. And so this made it somewhat cumbersome to get new courses listed as part of the minor, because they needed to go through these official bureaucratic hoops. For individual students, it's always been possible for, on a case-by-case basis, for the chair to just approve student requests for particular courses to be counted towards their minor on either the A list or the B list. So this has always been another more flexible option. Recently, however, in terms of the adoption of new courses, we've changed the setup for the minor, and now the courses that are part of the minor, instead of being listed in the university calendar, they're now listed on the ENSO website. And so basically all we need to do to add new courses to the ENSO minor is simply update the website. So this gives us a great deal more flexibility. So if you're a humanities professor and you have a course that focuses on environment and society issues, you can just simply contact the chair of the environment and society minor and send some information, such as a course syllabus, and we can review this and get it added to the list of ENSO courses on the website. It would probably go on the A list. In discussing this issue with a few folks, it's also been brought to my attention that sometimes there's special topics courses that have a focus on environmental issues, although that's not necessarily always the focus. So the focus of the special topics courses might rotate from year to year. And so I've been thinking a little bit about this, and I think one way of dealing with this is that we could also have these courses listed on the website, but just approve them on a year-by-year basis. So if there's a special topics course that has an environment and society focus, we could list this on the ENSO website and just clarify that that this course will count towards the environment and society minor for the coming academic year.
1 more minute, David.
Okay, so I think I'm just about done here, but I can wrap it up quickly. So another thing that we can do in terms of resources for folks is we can advertise new courses. So we can advertise these on the ENSO website. We can also send out email communications to students that are registered in the and so minor. Also, if you have special events that are related to environment and society, we can try to promote and support these. And in the next year and a half or so, we're going to undertake some new initiatives in terms of developing new curriculum, trying to expand the communication infrastructure, and trying to organize some special events for students and faculty. So if you have ideas for these, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to chat with you.
Thank you. So now, Liska.
My slide seems to be stuck, of course, so just bear with me here. All right, thanks for having me here today. Again, my name is Liska Riche, and I'm the manager of a program called the Seed Sustainability Program, and I'm happy to spell it out in the chat because it's quite long. And I'm also a sessional instructor in the Faculty of Land and Food Systems. So what I'd like to do today is just give you a brief overview of the seeds of this program, as well as share with you some collaborations that we've had to date, focusing on the last few recent years with the Faculty of Arts and more specifically Humanities, and then share some potential opportunities for collaboration. So what is SEEDS? SEEDS is a really unique cross-cutting program. We're situated within UBC's operational areas, specifically within campus and community planning. And what we do is that we work to advance UBC's sustainability and well-being commitments of the university by working with faculty, students, and staff and community partners by utilizing the campus as a living laboratory to explore and test various ideas and action that can inform the development and advancement of UBC's related policies and practices spanning sustainability and well-being. Put simply, challenges for us are research and partnership opportunities. I love my job because, again, challenges are opportunities. Not everybody has the privilege to be able to say that. All of our research has to meet these three criteria here. Again, it needs to align because we're situating with operations very distinctly with our various commitments. Some that are housed within our department that are led out of include the Climate Action Plan, Water Action Plan, Transportation Action Plan, Integrated Stormwater, Zero Waste, Land Use, Zero Carbon Strategy, and much more, as well as other plans of the university that are housed in different units. Like there's a well-being strategic framework, there's a really great sustainability strategy housed within our alma mater society. We also follow methodology in terms of community-based action research. There's lots of different forms of this. And for us, this means involving the community members in which the issues affect throughout the research process, from ideation to the follow-up phases. And all of our research involves faculty as well as various practitioners. We have two distinct pathways for our projects. The majority here are curricular. So we incorporate research within courses, typically fourth year and graduate level. That doesn't preclude other levels as well, but overall, that's the overall flavor of our program. We also have co-curricular opportunities. These take the form of campus-wide competitions on issues, sometimes volunteer, sometimes paid. But you'll see there's a lesser extent of those because it aligns with our values that applied research opportunities that address critical societal issues should be part of universities' learning and research practices. Last year, I launched UBC's SEED's 5 big research priorities. I was really inspired by our regional movement here. They've got 5 big bold moves that are really meant to span action on various societal issues. So here you'll see these 5 are meant to hone in our research. They're all interconnected and intersectional around accelerating climate action, maintaining and enhancing biodiversity, fostering circular economies, enabling the great food transformation, as well as fostering community and well-being. All big stuff. And underneath each of these are various research focus areas. We also have 4 interdisciplinary initiatives that involve faculty, students, and staff that work in parallel to advance these initiatives. They have steering committees and supporting action teams, and you'll see some common themes through these interdisciplinary initiatives here, such as climate, biodiversity, and food. 3 really, I think, key intersectional crises. Or each year we work with about, we have about 100 projects and work with about 1,000 participants. Students, what we hear from our students is that they're really happy to be able to gain some career capital, professional experience, to work on something applied, and to have an opportunity to amplify knowledge and action on some critical societal issues right here on our campus. Each project is supported with a SEEDS project manager as well that provides some valuable mentorship. Faculty are able to get support to integrate what we hear from our students are impactful experiences within your curriculum, as well as we're able to connect curriculum to advance UBC's sustainability and well-being commitments, like some of those plans and policies I mentioned earlier. We also have some funds to access that we evaluate on a case-by-case basis, which are typically to cover research costs. There's a lot of various impacts to SEEDS that are overall take the form of affecting decision-making and practices on our campuses and enabling some impactful experiences that are with students, staff, and our community partners. Now, and I'd like to give you a few examples of some collaborations that we've had with the Faculty of Arts, and then I'll hone in on humanities. We've worked with about 23 courses in arts, which really isn't that many because arts, as you know, is a huge faculty with a lot of different disciplines there. Our collaborations have taken many forms and spanned an array of different issues. With humanities in particular, one of our first big collaborations was with creative writing, where this led to the development of a new, I think, special topics course might be the right framing here, creative writing 590. So it was a very specific course where we launched a series of projects with students to tackle and address various issues by using our campus's public realm, basically outdoor spaces, to develop these different physical manifestations or temporal installations across our campus on a range of issues. This one here, the student here, Chris Evans, absolutely fantastic, interviewed UBC's some political refugees that have come to UBC's campuses, and the use of form of these birdhouses that actually had this function as well to serve for birds, but also I think connect people to these critical stories of refugees. Another one of my personal favorites here, the student Saskia, phenomenal. She developed 120 interpretive signages that were really, really creative and whimsical. They're not your typical signages. They look like that. You might just walk by, you might see at a museum or in Latin, but you go up closer to them. And what she did is that she used different forms of ways of knowing, spanning multiple disciplines and other ways of knowing to really connect people with place and inspire people about, I think, diversity in place and tell a lot of stories. Really phenomenal project. Another one here of my favorites, I love this one because it was built on a whole series of research projects that we really closely partnered with the Faculty of Science on. That was testing how many birds collide with UBC's windows. Really, really big global phenomenon. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this. There's a lot of decals out there, but they don't work, a lot of them, because they're not spaced properly. Long story short, we launched a campus-wide competition here, had a lot of different faculty mentors, gave some very, very close perimeters and guidelines to design something that connected people with place, told a story about the ecology of the area, at the same time can help mitigate bird collision. And this one project here from this English student led to installations being developed and inspired elsewhere, which is a huge, I think, success in itself, because often people are worried about optics and aesthetics, about having their beautiful windows covered in dots. So this to me was quite transformational and led to a lot of unexpected findings. We had 100 projects launched in UBC's Nest building. At the time it was being built, it was supposed to be the most sustainable student union building in the world. And from there, we launched a whole bunch of different student projects across all different faculties. I'm going to highlight a couple here. Sorry, this one here was with visual art students and ENDS collaboration. They worked with UBC's Pulp and Paper Center and used paper and helped tell the story of sort of its different forms of how it's used and the complexity of it through an installation. Another one here, we launched a competition that led to some really unique collaborations, and this moving tree and spinning gardens and revolving gardens in the Nest, to different projects to help animate and add vibrancy to really dark spaces on our campuses here, like our parkades. So this was
One more minute, Liska.
And then just a couple more examples. Another one here was a painting exhibition at Buchanan, which is one of UBC's key art buildings here. And here they chose the SDGs as a big theme to inspire conversation around that. There's been some other more recent projects spanning air travel emissions to the cultural and ecological diversity of trees and landscape. And then in terms of some opportunities for collaborations, there are many here. We're here to help integrate and applied student-led research in your course. You can join a campus competition panel, one of those interdisciplinary initiatives I mentioned earlier, or participate in an interdisciplinary knowledge exchange workshop, which I haven't mentioned, but feel free to contact me to learn more. And there's a lot of different topics. I've mentioned a few here that are some of our priorities right now that fit under those big 5 research priorities, from tackling eco-anxiety to nature-based solutions to climate change. And we really need humanities, I think, to help engage people in these critical topics. And this is one key initiative here that we actually launched with the Faculty of Arts, Forestry, and Science around 2 intersectional crises in particular, because climate was getting a lot of attention and we wanted to bridge it with the ecological crisis as well. And this is our CCUB climate crisis in urban biodiversity. So a very specific one. Thank you. And here's some contact information, and I'm sure the slides will be shared afterwards. And if not, I'm happy to share them.
Thank you, Liska. Next speaker is Megan.
Hi, everyone. Before I share my screen, because I just have slides that just talk about the student-led projects, I'm just going to talk to you face-to-face for a second. And thank you, everyone. There's so much amazing dialogue and initiatives being talked about here today. So I'm thankful to be a part of this space with you all today. I only have a short time, so I'm going to kind of dive into what the Climate Hub does. We work to connect and empower communities at the UBC and campus and beyond to take bold climate action that seeks to support and expand climate justice principles, as well as generating community equity and resilience. Amplifying and supporting BIPOC voices and lived experience, Indigenous sovereignty, and supporting anti-racism and anti-oppression work. We also focus on how our actions can help to drive deeper systemic changes, and we prioritize the power of storytelling and lived experience in our work and our community building that we do. At the Hub, we see all of these issues talked about today, and the ones that we focus on as interconnected and inseparable from issues of climate change and climate action. And another core issue I really want to highlight that we focus on in our work at the Hub is our commitment to helping folks shift climate and eco-anxiety into climate hope and climate agency, and our focus on nurturing resilient, joyful, and connected communities rooted in mutual trust and enthusiasm for generating collective climate action in our communities and in our spaces that we work within. So there's several ways that at the Hub that we seek to actively shift this from theory into practice to meet these overarching aims and goals and values within the UBC and UBCO campus and the broader community as well that we are nested within and a part of and connected to as well. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay. And some of this, Tara had touched on one of our programs earlier. Some of this is, we worked with SEEDS before. So there's a lot of crossover between what we do at the Climate Hub and a lot of the other community groups. So the first one is the CJRC, or the Climate Justice Research Collaborative. This is a program, and all of our programs are student-led, student-created. And so these are kind of initiatives that are kind of born out of student engagement. And this one creates opportunities for undergraduate students to collaborate on interdisciplinary research projects that are focused on issues of climate justice. These projects are supervised and mentored by faculty and graduate students as well. And students receive course credit for their participation in this process, which is always a nice way to kind of help engagement and research in this area. This year, student researchers partnered with Hogan's Alley and the Downtown Eastside Indigenized Food Security Network, among other partners as well within and across the community. This year's cohort have actually just finished up, and we've had feedback from the community partners that they're interested in maintaining this relationship and this collaborative research approach. And then we have the Climate Teaching Connector, which Tara spoke to earlier. And this is, again, a Climate Hub student-led initiative. And so this is kind of an innovative and exciting program, and it helps to integrate climate-related content into undergraduate courses by connecting course instructors at UBC and UBCO with climate change and climate justice experts from the UBC community In its pilot phase over this course of this past year, there was a cohort of 15 graduate students and postdocs with a diversity of expertise in climate issue knowledge and areas. And they gave about 22 different lectures across the UBC departments. So there's an array of kind of fields and areas being engaged with. And this program is now being extended in partnership with USI, as we heard at UBC as well. And we also have the YCAP, which is a really great youth connection program. YCAP, or the Youth Climate Ambassador Project, is the Climate Hub. We really believe in youth-led action and amplifying youth power, and we're seeing that across the world right now. So this fosters a youth for youth and peer-to-peer model, and supports student well-being and leadership on climate by facilitating, again, hopeful storytelling in workshop formats. And these are taking place across the school districts, across the Lower Mainland, and also in the interior to some extent, and also at community gatherings. And the YCAP model also emphasizes issues of climate change as issues of social justice requiring collaborative action. So this process is both, this process that they go through, that the youth go through with facilitators, you know, seeks to address and acknowledge the pervasive anxiety and dread associated with the expanding climate crisis, and also the possibility for hope and optimism, and helping students to explore their own climate stories in relationship to climate change. And our last one is the CWEN, or the Climate Wellbeing Engagement Network, which is another student-led initiative. And this focuses on developing and connecting students, staff, faculty, and the broader community, both UBC, UBCO, to a network of climate mental health and well-being workshops, resources, community engagement opportunities, and research opportunities as well. And this work aligns with core principles of the climate well-being strategic framework and the Okanagan Charter. An example of what we do with the Climate Wellbeing Engagement Network is meeting the growing impacts of the climate mental health impacts that we see taking place. And so we've developed and facilitate open digital interactive dialogue workshops with folks. And these workshops and community chats, which are open to the public to join once a week. And they create inclusive spaces for discussing issues and experiences of climate anxiety, building community knowledge about impacts of climate change on mental health and well-being, and particularly with a focus also on the disproportionate impacts on BIPOC, Indigenous, and marginalized communities. And then we work hard to provide tools and strategies to help shift anxiety from this paralyzing into this proactive kind of engagement with climate action and climate issues.
One minute, Megan.
Perfect. That's all I've got. So I'll pop a bunch of links into the chat just to our website and our social media to show the kinds of resources that we're developing, community chat signups and our newsletters and things like that that we use to connect with community. Thank you, everyone.
Super. Thank you all. I noted in the chat that Anna Casas is unable to join us today, but she sent some links. So we can open the floor now to questions. We've got a few minutes before we'll take a break and then rejoin this Zoom room for some lightning talks by UBC humanities scholars working on the environment. So any questions? People can raise their hands. I think I have the gallery here. So I'm excited to see the sort of range and kind of collaborations between some of the groups today, but I see real potential in involving humanities scholars more. So for example, I'm thinking that Climate Connector program, either encouraging humanities grad students to offer themselves as potential speakers in a classroom that doesn't know about environmental literature or climate fiction or whatever, or the reverse, signing up so that we can invite, humanities scholars can invite non-humanities scholars to come into their classes and share some of their research from the other side of campus. Derek, go ahead.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, everyone. I learned a lot. I'm new. I'm Derek Woods. Just started at UBC this year, so I'm kind of like not starting in a way in terms of meeting people, but So I learned a lot from this, and I haven't really heard of this most of this work yet. So I did have a question for for Megan about Climate Hub, which is just kind of a simple one. I was curious to hear more about what the student engagements has looked like, and I guess well, not numbers exactly, but are students interested in it? Or are they wanting to show up and talk about their climate anxieties, or sort of are wary of doing it in a way?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think we really do focus on trying to build and foster that student engagement. What we have found in our work is that students are really craving spaces to do this. When we do offer workshops, students are really receptive to being able to have a space to do this, to share these feelings and have them acknowledged. They are feeling them, whether we acknowledge them or not, and not acknowledging them actually is causing more distress, because you feel like I'm in this alone, or am I supposed to be feeling this? Absolutely, students are feeling this, and it's normal. It's a normal response to climate anxiety and trauma that we're seeing both in our own communities and globally. And as long as it's done well and respectfully, we're asking folks to be vulnerable when they share these emotions. And so we try and make sure we build space, build it in trust, so that folks can be vulnerable. But we do find that for the YCAP, for example, the youth in schools, elementary and secondary schools and middle schools, are very eager to engage with these programs and these issues. They're already doing that, so this helps with some guidance and puts also some positive spin on that and some hopeful spin about collaboration. So, we do find, and our community chats is another one. We host a community chat every Wednesday. It was over this course of this past year. And we have folks coming consistently to these chats. We've actually built a whole community where folks have said to us, we kind of felt adrift. And we felt like we could root here and build some community and find folks who are interested in exploring these issues with us. And so there's a big need for it. And so providing those spaces, I think, is really important right now. I hope that answered the question. If not, please let me know.
Yeah, no, it helps. And I guess I was also thinking, just as you were talking about what I felt like as a student, which was definitely, well, I guess climate change in particular played into almost like how I organized my life then quite a bit. But there wasn't really much space to talk about that except kind of with other students, where like in a way we would turn to kind of apocalyptic culture to process that. The fact that there kind of didn't seem to be a future. So, yeah.
There's a question Kimberly asked me to ask on her behalf. She's curious how the programs mentioned today are working to engage instructors, lecturers, and sessionals, in addition to faculty and grad students at UBC.
Excuse me, I can comment on that. And then I'm sure Oska has some additional information there. So the climate grants, actually, I didn't really speak to the climate grants today. I didn't have time, but we have these pools of money that can go out to people teaching courses on campus. And so the climate grants and the interdisciplinary education grants are both there for instructors, educators on campus who are developing either content for climate content for their courses, or renewing courses, or proposing climate related content, or interdisciplinary sustainability related content. So many of the people engaging as sustainability fellows with the interdisciplinary education grants are from the educational leadership stream here on campus. So there's no differentiation there between research faculty and educational leadership stream faculty. Lecturers also, so one of the stipulations that we would have is that the department is supporting the projects that are being proposed such that they have longevity within the department. So if the lecturer is engaged in a course that is an ongoing course, and that their teaching of that course is regular, then they would be eligible to receive grants through our programming. Sessionals are a little more challenging in that sense because the expectation is that, like I said, that they would be continuing. So if the department is recognizing that the sessional is doing critical work within the department and it is going to be incorporated in some kind of long-term way, then we can do that as well. But it's less directed towards the individual than it is towards the course and the longevity of the programming.
I'm mindful of the time now, just because there's a set of lightning talks beginning at 3:30, which will be of interest to people who are in this Zoom and will be on the same link. So I'm wondering if we can say we're taking an 8-minute break now, and maybe some of the questions can be asked in the chat.
So it's the same room, Mary?
The same room.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. But I want to thank everyone. Maybe we can unmute, thank all our speakers for their presentations and the people who asked questions for their questions. And I hope to see you all in a few minutes back in this room.
Thanks, everyone.